ChatGPT is creating a bunch of nightmares for educators. There are a lot of concerns about how this new technology is going to make it easier to plagiarize, but I am determined to start figuring out ways to use ChatGPT for good rather than evil in higher education. And today we're going to put ChatGPT to the test to see how well it can define the term ethos. All right, ChatGPT, let's see what you got. Ethos refers to credibility, trustworthiness, and moral character of an individual, group, or organization as a persuasive technique used to establish authority and persuade others to accept an argument or point of view, based off the perceived character. All right, so I think this is a pretty good start. That some of the parts that I think are important to notice is that it's based off the perceived character, expertise, and credibility of the person. And so ethos generally maybe is misunderstood as kind of whether or not a person actually is credible or not. Instead, we should think of ethos as how a person or a speaker convinces or shows or demonstrates their trustworthiness, credibility, and moral character to an audience. Now, one of the reasons that people often define ethos as credibility, trustworthiness, and moral character is because there's actually three kind of dimensions to ethos that was described by Aristotle. One's good sense, one's good moral character, and one's goodwill. And so let's see if ChatGPT can actually dive into showing us those different dimensions. So let's take a moment and see if ChatGPT can answer that question. What are the three parts of ethos? All right, so starting off, competence or expertise, I would kind of generally say that this is phronesis when we're thinking about ethos. So phronesis is kind of your practical knowledge, how you're able to show your audience that you kind of know what you are doing. Character and trustworthiness, this probably goes back to arete. Arete is showing or displaying our good moral character to our audience. And then goodwill and intention, that is probably referring to anoia. Anoia, again, is showing our audience that we have goodwill towards them, that we care about them, that we have their, as ChatGPT says, have their best interests at heart. And so even though it's not giving us those terms, it is helping get us to that content. I also wonder, though, if ChatGPT can define some of the specific dimensions of ethos for us. So let's ask about anoia and see what comes up. Anoia is a Greek term that refers to goodwill, beautiful thinking towards others. All right, that kind of seems to be a good start in how we think about anoia in terms of rhetoric, right? In terms of rhetoric, we think of anoia as the speaker displaying in their text, in their speech, that they have goodwill towards their audience, they have good intentions towards others. All right, so let's see if it can get phronesis correct. Phronesis is a Greek term that refers to practical wisdom and practical reasoning. It's the ability to make sound judgments. Again, I think that is a good definition. When I think about phronesis in terms of rhetoric, I think about it as showing the audience, again, that we have that practical wisdom, that practical judgment. So this seems to be a solid definition of phronesis. All right, so let's see if we can get the third one correct, arete. Arete is a Greek term that refers to excellence, virtue, and goodness in all aspects of life. Okay, I think that, again, is a good definition that when we are trying to develop or think about arete, we are thinking about how are we displaying our goodness, our good morals to an audience. All right, but let's see if it can kind of go even further and start making some more evaluative claims about ethos. Generally speaking, we think of ethos as being dependent on culture, right? In order to show good sense, goodwill, and good moral character to an audience, you kind of have to know how that culture views what is good sense, what is good moral character, and that might change from culture to culture or place to place. So let's see what ChatGPT says. Okay, good, right? Yes, ethos can depend on culture, as cultural values and beliefs can influence how credibility and trustworthiness are perceived. So I think that's a very good, solid foundation about the relationship between ethos and culture. So my general impression is that ChatGPT did a solid job defining some of the aspects of ethos, emphasizing goodwill, good moral character, and good sense. It did seem to me that as we went through that it would not give you some of the terminology to think about those issues unless you asked for that specific terminology. So it never mentioned phronesis, arete, or anoia before we started asking about that, but it did kind of reference the general concepts associated with those terms. All in all, I think ChatGPT passed the ethos test, that students could use ChatGPT to help remind themselves or think through ethos more deeply. Tune in next time as we see if ChatGPT can define pathos. And if you're liking our content, please take a moment to like and subscribe to this video. As you know, liking and subscribing is a critical way to support our channel. It helps us know what kind of content that you all appreciate. We thank you so much for the support. Have a good one.